Okay, this is Dave Wescott with All Star Arenas out of Tampa, Florida. With a Zamboni Authorized Distributor for Southeast U.S. We've got many states in our territory and like to work with the local rinks as well as rinks around our territory. Today, we've got Iggy Tarajos with us. He's the works at Advent Health Center Ice and outside of Tampa, Florida in good old Wesley Chapel. I had known Iggy for a long time, and during this shutdown that we had, I know Iggy was working on some of his machines, so wanted to let him introduce himself and tell us a little bit about his facility and his equipment.
Thanks, Dave. Iggy Tarajos. I am Director of Operations for Advent Health Center Ice here in Wesley Chapel, Florida, just north of Tampa. I have a 5-sheet facility, the largest in the Southeast. I have 1 Olympic surface, 3 NHL surfaces, and 1 mini rink. Currently, I'm operating with 2 552 machines and 1 500 machine.
When you were having the opportunity here to work on the machines, I know you had called us looking for a few items and a couple questions. You know, what kind of opportunity you took to work on the machine?
We took this opportunity as a big one for us. We were out since March 23rd, and for the whole month of April, we were able to actually take down the 3 machines right down to the frame, which we found out as we were doing that. That means we took batteries out, we took the makeup water tanks out, and as we found out, when we got to the bottom there, we had some rust issues, especially with our brake lines on the 552s. So we were able to strip down those brake lines, replace those brake lines, wire brush down all the rust, get all the contaminants from the battery acid and stuff off, and just do a massive repaint job on everything. They look like brand new. We also took down all of the conditioners, repainted all of those, put those back into shape, made sure that all our bearings and bushings were all up to speed so we would have good contact. And when we got to one of the machines, one of the 552s, we noticed that the rear spring was kind of collapsed in, causing us not to be able to have a good ice cut. So we replaced those back springs, which was all fun, interesting, and we're actually kind of glad we had the opportunity to do it.
Wow, that's a lot of work. That's great.
Yeah.
So I guess would you suggest if a facility finds themselves with a little bit of time and maybe a spare machine, they should consider doing that occasionally?
Yeah, absolutely, and I'll tell you why. Because you don't normally get a chance to get really under the hood, if you will. I mean, taking out that makeup water tank is not that difficult to do, and it's kind of relatively lightweight. And if you can get down to the frame and actually do a really good inspection on the inside of it for things like your hydraulic hoses and maybe your electrical connections and all of that, if you've got the time and you've got a machine, I highly recommend that, because you're going to save yourself an emergency situation in the long run, and you're going to increase the length life of that machine for probably another good 5 years anyways.
You've also got a Zamboni Edger, is that right?
I got one, and we were able to get new blades for that. We actually replaced the batteries on that one too, and I'm looking to purchase another one here in my fiscal year, which is coming right up.
That's quite a bit of work, but like you said, you found some things ahead of time rather than finding things out after they happen. That's what preventive maintenance is all about.
Yeah, I think that's the real key right there too, Dave. And we also had a chance to really work on the frame and the body of the machine. People might not do all the time, like the dump tank is a good instance. I mean, how many people have their dump tanks that are just getting rusty and the snow's starting to stick in it? You got to get up in there and clean it up and wire brush it and repaint it. And I recommend that you use a epoxy paint on that, and then maybe a light coat of car wax on top of that, and then your snow is going to slide right out We did that to all 3 of our machines too.
So are you getting, you're able to put those machines back to use now? You got ice in?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we painted 1 sheet last week. The governor opened up a little bit more of the restrictions that we had here in the state of Florida, and we're able to have some limited user groups come back in and start using it. So I have 1 sheet down that's being used right now, and I used the machine that we rebuilt just yesterday, and I'll tell you what, it cut like butter. It was sweet, really a nice cut. So we're gonna get started on another rink this week and bring another machine back online.
And you guys are doing something unique there at Advent Health Center Ice. What's going on in the parking lot?
We have the COVID testing site here in our parking lot. We have like 4 stations. It's a free test. It helps if people pre-register on a time frame, but you don't have to. And the best part about it is it doesn't cost anything. It's free.
Wow, that's great. It's nice, nice to have your facility helping out the community. It's great to see.
We have a little bit of a partnership with the Advent Health. Obviously, they're our naming company here. So yeah, it's great to work hand in hand with them. So I was actually thinking that I might do a little something special for them on my next red line.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
You know, the nice thing about us ice makers is we've got freedom to do the center of that red line how we want.
I know it's a lot of fun, and you can really be creative. And I like to ask all my partners here on the operations department their thoughts when they're kind of doing that. And yeah, I have no qualms in letting them handle that stuff.
Working on your machines, taking the batteries out. Come across anything that maybe you found that could be better as far as the battery maintenance, or things looking pretty much like expected?
Well, my guys are doing a good job on their battery maintenance. We're taking care of it on a daily basis, and we're checking voltage. There is one cell that I have to replace. It'll be the second one that I replace, not in the same machine, but we take the battery tray out, and there's a company here in Tampa, fortunately, that deals strictly with batteries, and they were able to come up and give us a used battery, which was almost 100%. And it was just one cell that we took out and replaced, not the whole package. And it looks like I'm going to have to do that to another one of my 2 machines.
Since you had this chance to do a complete teardown on the machines, when things are running and you guys are really busy building with all those sheets of ice, you still find time to do the preventive maintenance to help avoid any unwanted breakdowns.
Yeah, I think for us as a group, staying on top of the regular routine maintenance with the greasing and the water in the batteries, and the small minor repairs you might have to do with like a snow brake spring or something like that, we were able to have this time, instead of devoting it to getting back up in that regard, to actually go down a little bit deeper and take the rust off and repaint the underneath side and that kind of thing. So having a regular routine maintenance is critical for having your machines last longer. The longevity of your machine is dependent greatly on your ability to maintain it on a regular basis. Because unfortunately, we weren't lucky enough to have brand new machines when we opened up here in 2016. And so we've got these used machines, 1 from you and 2 from R&R up there in Wisconsin. And I have to keep them going for a little bit longer. I did put in my budget going into 3 to 5 years to replace those machines. But for right now, as busy as we are, with all these rinks humping, we've got 1, maybe 2 tournaments going on at the same time over the course of a weekend. It's imperative that we try to stay on top of these machines and make sure that they're there and ready to go when we need to.
That's awesome. I know. Looking forward to when you do get those new ones, and it'll be the same thing though. You want to stay on top of them, whether they're new or old. That's very important to stay on there with the preventive maintenance. So Iggy, when you're doing your routine preventive maintenance, what do you think the top 3 items that you look for are?
Well, the first thing is my drivers are instructed to do a circle check around the machine at the beginning of their shift and at the end of their shift. So if they do notice any problems that could be arising, they have that marked down and we can address them right away. The second thing is the daily greasing. Not all of the grease fittings have to be done, but you do want to keep small daily grease fittings on things like your conditioner arms and things like that. And the third thing, obviously, is our battery maintenance and checking those on a daily basis. Those are the top 3 things I think are the most important. Let's not forget about, in that circle check, your tire pressure. Tire pressures are critical and key to making a good sheet of ice.
Nice. That's yeah, a lot of people kind of forget about those tire pressures, but the one you really hit on that I see a big difference in the facilities that we work on their machines that seriously do their circle checks and ones that just kind of not that important. I still watch people run out of propane on the ice, and that one always makes me chuckle because we talk about that circle check all the time. All right, well, I want to thank you, Iggy, for spending the time with me today. It's always great to hear what you're up to and how things are going there at Advent Health Center Ice. Good luck with the reopening, and hopefully things move along good for us all.
Thanks, Dave.